nations in the region. Today's Qatar ranked as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with a projected GDP a growth rate of 3.4% in 2023, and among the most competitive and innovative in the region, earning the second place on the WEF's Global Competitiveness Index for the Arab world, and the first place among the Arab countries on the Global Entrepreneurship Index. Qatar advanced business ranks were driven by the implementation of rigorous reforms aimed to expanding opportunities for international firms looking to set up in the country. These include key amendments to a number of existing businesses, legalization, and the ratification of new laws to foster the trade and business environment by allowing up to 100% foreign investment in the economic and the trade activities. The free zone law, for instance, offers 100% foreign ownership in various industries, and the freedom to transfer the capital, as well as tax the duty exemptions, are streamlined to flow of goods and services to and from Qatar. All required license to operate can now be obtained from the Free Zone Authority one-stop shop. Qatar Financial Center, on the other hand, continues to serve as a leading platform for firms to be business in Qatar and beyond. The center also offers attractive benefits, including competitive tax system, 100% foreign ownership, and 100% reputation of profits, and legal regulatory framework based on the English common law. QFC, Qatar Financial Center, is already a home for many British licensed companies, and that are currently registered at Qatar Ministry of Commerce and Industry. These firms can leverage Qatar's advanced infrastructure and strategic location, which can be reached from Europe, Asia, and Africa in just 6 hours to be based to do businesses with the world. Hamad International Airport is one of the biggest in the region, and links Qatar with more than 150 destinations through Qatar Airways, which was voted that the best airline in the world, while Hamad Port now accounts for 27% of the regional trade volume in the Middle East, with an annual capacity of 7.5 million cargo containers. Qatar continues to invest in world-class infrastructure and logistics to cement its position as a regional and a global trade hub, with the development of new industrial zones and logistic parks. We also working on building our own success and developing competitive business environment to foster entrepreneurship ecosystem and attract entrepreneurs in emerging and growth-oriented industry, such as cybersecurity, mobility, deep tech, fintech, sports tech, and fashion tech. Qatar Development Bank, for instance, has provided support over 870 startups and SMEs since foundation, with over of 7.3 billion Qatari riyal deployed in direct and indirect financing. And since inception of its investment fund, the QDB also launched several and a wide range of products to fund early stage companies, including our SME equity fund, and also we have another Sharia compliant product for equity financing. We support our support for startup has paid off with many eventually by encouraging many startups to be based in Qatar, and we have an award-winning startup which is Sponex. It's a sports tech solution that contributes to the delivery of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, and is now providing broadcasting solutions to international clients. This year, QDB launched its first program. It's one of a kind to promote investment into emerging opportunities by providing part of required capital for startups alongside private investors and local and international funds. So this is in a nutshell our approach to encourage both local and international SMEs to be based in Qatar.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll go along the table. So Marco Forgiorne is the Director General of the Institute of Export and International Trade. If you could give a perspective, and then I'll ask Hatice to speak, and then finally Mohammed, you can speak.
Brilliant. John, thank you. So the Institute of Export and International Trade is an independent organisation established in 1935 with the express objective of enhancing international trade and professionalising international trade. And there are some in the room who may think that the challenges the UK faces today have a close link to the challenges we faced in 1935, it would be for me to say. I think, though, that there is a golden thread that links us, the Institute today, with our founders, who are the leading industrialists of the day, because international trade is a force for good. If we are to address the many challenges that humanity faces, it will not be by drawing up barriers, it'll be by breaking down barriers and building connectivity between nations. And the Institute is on a mission to ensure that businesses have the potential to grow and develop through international trade. All the research shows that businesses which trade cross borders are more resilient, more sustainable, they employ more people, they are more innovative, and most importantly, are more profitable. And at a time when global supply chains are being restructured, when geopolitics is undergoing tectonic change, I think it is incumbent on all of us to evangelize for the benefits of engagement and the tremendous economic, social and community benefits of international trade. I had the great pleasure a few years ago to be working directly building bridges between the UK and Qatar. And I have to say, if you have an opportunity, it is the most brilliant, accommodating, progressive, forward-thinking nation. There is huge potential for trade flows between Qatar and the UK, but also for trade and services. I was working at the time in the creative industries, and I was delighted to be supporting the development of really world-leading creative industry sector in support of Qatar. But the trade flows both ways. There is much that UK can and should learn from Qatar specifically around innovation, and there was just highlighted some of that really at the very forefront of technology and sport. So I think that the potential for that connectivity is vast. And as we're sat here in Liverpool, I think it's important to also highlight the potential for the connectivity between free ports, which has the potential to really drive growth and the trade in goods and innovative solutions to the way in which trade takes place, particularly in a world which is being transformed through digital technologies. We had the coming into law of the Electronic Trade Documents Act in the UK, which now encourages unique and new ways of growing and developing international trade. If I may just talk now more broadly of the MENA region, of the MENA region, I think you need to look at the indicators for the region. It is one of the fastest growing economically and socially in the world. We have a fast growing and informed, intelligent, educated, technologically savvy young population across the MENA region. And that is sparking new ways of deploying technology, but also new ways of trading. And I think the UK has a significant role to play, both in acting as a bridge for the MENA region, but also to trade into and with the MENA region. You know, the indicators are just incredible. Already, 10,700 UK businesses export to GCC. That's $61.3 billion. MENA is the seventh largest export bloc for the United Kingdom. That's how important the MENA region is. And I think there is much more that needs to be done actively to engage using all the tools, all the capabilities, all the potential. And one of the routes has to be through e-commerce, and the Institute is delighted to be having set up the E-Commerce Trade Commission with the support of the UK government, which brings together all the key e-commerce platforms to help and grow and develop export capabilities using these marketplaces. And what's really important about the e-commerce platforms is that they have a soft route for MSMEs, that's micro, small and medium enterprises, to engage in international trade. But I'm afraid not enough is done coherently to support MSMEs in engaging and utilising these tools. So the Institute, with others including Amazon, Shopify, eBay, Alibaba, is looking to see how we can engage more effectively, more impactfully to deploy e-commerce solutions to support that international trade. And I was heartened to hear, I'm not sure if the Shadow Chancellor has finished speaking, but certainly during her speech, I was delighted to hear very clearly that a Labour government would implement a coherent industrial strategy, which I think has been missing from UK politics for too long. An industrial strategy that brings together a long-term, stable sense of what the economy is going to be like, and that is linked with an export strategy and what's missing currently, an import strategy. I think also the announcement of a sovereign wealth fund that will be developed in the UK gives huge potential for the UK to now strategically engage with these key markets, and MENA would be at the very top of the list of those regions, those areas and those nations with whom the UK should be building and growing our trade relationships. John, I think that's enough for me.
No, that's great. I mean, you're giving us a broader perspective and also getting into some of the micro SMEs. I thought that's really interesting, and the use of platform technology. So now we want to Hatice Beton, and I think you have a lot of expertise in the broader GCC.
Yeah, thank you, John. I think my role here is today to speak about my experience in the last few years doing increasingly business and bringing businesses to the GCC region. I'm the CEO of Sovereign Strategy, and we try to promote business diplomacy by bringing UK businesses to the GCC region and try to help their vision 2030, 2035 agendas. And when we speak of MENA, I think the title of today's panel is called MENA, but MENA is so vast. We have 21 countries in the MENA region. And if you look at the United Kingdom right now after Brexit, one of the most active ongoing deals is the GCC trade deal. And of course, the UK government has to do a great deal to rework and reignite all the other trade deals. But I would like to focus specifically on my expertise area, which is the GCC and the health industry in today's discussions. But I can echo my previous panelists. I mean, if you look at the opportunity that the ongoing GCC FDA trade deal in the United Kingdom will bring to UK trade, it's around 16% of the growth. We are at the moment in the coming into the fifth round of negotiations. And a lot of the chapters are still outstanding. Actually, quite surprisingly, one of the chapters that have been agreed early on is the SME chapter. Obviously, as you said, there's still a lot of regulatory work to be done on implementation, but I think that's quite exciting for SMEs to see. And if you look at the grand scheme of things, what I'm observing in these trade deals, one of my key takeaways, what I would like to focus from a political standpoint is we shouldn't be politicizing these trade deals and negotiations. And what we can see currently undergoing in the government circles is a lot of these deals, there's a lot of gossip around them, what's in them and what's not in them. In the end of the day, it's a trade deal and trade for good. And we need to make sure any future trade deals we do with them in the region to depoliticize them. Because believe me, I mean, we heard it from these great panelists, there's so much appetite in these countries to get investment into the country in the non-oil and gas industry. And the technological advancement, like you said, is massive. I mean, we can learn a great deal from them. And they are way more advanced in AI in digital technologies in all the sectors. So, and bureaucracy, for some reason, I mean, although some of those are not a democracy, bureaucracy is less of a hurdle, and we can get things done much quicker, and it can benefit actually UK SMEs for the long term in enhancing their trade agreements. But we will come on to that in a moment, so over to you.
Thank you very much. So now, Mohammed Butt, the leader of Brent Council.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot of ground to cover, and MENA is a very big area. So pick part of it, and then let's try and bring the audience in.
Thank you very much. First of all, I think I need to say thank you to Aisha. I think what you've just said, I think puts us to shame here. What you guys are doing in Qatar just demonstrates the role and responsibilities that we should be sharing in order to make sure SMEs do actually thrive. And you mentioned Brexit as well, and at the moment, I think Britain can see the challenges we're now facing, right, from leaving Europe, and how it's impacting business and the opportunities around employment, around skills, around actually success, actually for the greater benefit of United Kingdom, and the free ports element. There's so much, isn't it?
So much.
The free ports. I know there was the discussion that came along that free ports were going to be created in England as well, right? And it seemed to be stalling at the moment. I think with I will be having the conversations with Ty Raleigh and Nashar to make sure the comments that you guys have made and what you are doing actually, right, is an example of good practice of how we can actually sort of use business not just in the UK, but we need to make sure we're actually expanding our own remit, making sure trade is two-way. And the point you made about depoliticizing the element, I totally understand what you're saying there. And we do need to be more open, because if we close ourselves and close our borders, close our barriers, close the opportunities around finance, around sport, around fashion, fintech, we are going to be the losers, right? And the opportunities around the GCC and the trade deals that are there are vast. And as a country going forward, I think Labour will be open to having those kind of conversations. We need to make sure that any successive government is open to having those conversations. And we do need to have the hands of friendship open, but we also need to be honest with ourselves, right? Because if we do create more barriers for people to work with us, to come into the UK, we are going to be the losers. We can see the impact of what's happening, right, through just trying to send even a small package across to Europe, right? And the bureaucracy that we have created, right, is the biggest stumbling block that we're facing at the moment. So, like I said, Aisha, I think we have so many lessons to learn from yourselves, and we need to take on board what you guys are doing.
Thank you. So, before I throw it out to the audience, I want to make a couple of comments. One is, you mentioned, Marco, you said 1935, you've been in existence since 1935. 1935 was the worst Labour Party election defeat until 2019. So it's a number that caused a shiver to run down my spine. And what's amazing is that we are only 4 years on from that, and the Labour Party is open for business again, with business, with the region, but also with the British voters, the British electorate. And I sometimes say we've actually gone from 1983 to 1997 in 2 years. We've kind of turned our fortunes around, and one of the reasons is that we've become a pro-business party. We're open to business, and I think the purpose of this conversation is to respond to the speakers, but also ask questions and say things to yourself that take the debate forward. And Ibrahim is bringing another speaker.
To the tape.
You went to Tate, okay. So before, Yasmin, welcome. So before I open it to the audience, Yasmin Qureshi is here, our final speaker, our star speaker.
Am I the first speaker?
No, we've had everybody spoken so far. So it's
We saved the best to last.
Save the best till last.
Oh, right, thank you. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for that. I'm sorry I ended up in a completely wrong building. I'll just come back from
Too many
there.
nice buildings in Liverpool.
Well, I just want to, in some ways, want to discuss about three things. And I'm going to try to answer and give some suggestion about these things. So the first question we've been asked to look at is, why are SMEs so important in creating jobs and opportunities in the UK? Now, advance apologies if I'm going to say things that other people may have already mentioned, but I think a lot of these things need to be reiterated again as well. Big businesses hog the limelight, but it's actually small businesses that make up 99% of the 5.5 million businesses in the United Kingdom, yet they rarely receive the public's attention or praise for that matter. They deliver jobs, growth and prosperity for millions of people across the UK, and of course they play a fundamental role in driving our economy, especially at very difficult times. And as a Member of Parliament, I've had a great pleasure visiting many small, medium businesses as well as large ones across my constituencies. And most of them want to grow, they want to invest, they want to employ more staff, they want to make their local area better, they want to provide services, products, but also they want to be able to do it worldwide as well. But of course they can't do it alone. What we need is a government to create an environment which allows for small businesses to flourish. They have a huge amount to offer, and because the very fact that they're small, they're much more agile, they're able to be more flexible, and as you probably know, that 48% of private sector employment is actually in these SMEs, and they're very fabric of our society and generally help. So the importance of supporting SMEs for the next Labour government, I think, is to achieve the mission for the highest growth in the G7. And I don't see why we can't aim for that. We should be celebrating the contribution of small businesses, and we should allow their voice to be at the heart of our mission to achieve the highest growth in the G7. And I don't, again, as I said, I don't see why we shouldn't be aiming for that. Now, in the past, Labour's record when we were in government actually was pretty good in supporting small businesses. For example, we replaced the business rate with the system for the 21st century. We took action to tackle the problem of late payment, and of course trying to create a level playing field for smaller firms to access public contracts. And our brilliant shadow business secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, had pledged to bring the voice of small businesses to the heart of government decision making. We know that they are the lifeblood of our community, but they're also essential to our economic success. It's no exaggeration when they said, the UK is the nation of shopkeepers, and I say that with pride. We're very proud to be a nation of shopkeepers. But we need to, not just shopkeepers, but others, we need to listen to them. One thing Labour will do is to scrap the business rate as the way they operate at the moment. We need a much fairer system, and Labour's plan is to incentivise investment, promote entrepreneurship and efficiency, and reward businesses that are doing good work. And with that, of course, the importance of a high street to thrive again. Because I know some people will come from towns and cities where your high street is absolutely brilliant, very thriving. But my constituency, Bolton, our high street is actually declining at the moment. And one of the things we're trying to work very hard is to get it energised, to invigorate it. And I'm really pleased, I'm really hoping that when the Labour government comes in, that we will be able to do a lot more to get things going. We could have an issue where national government is working with our local council to help small businesses, and I think changing the rate system and rent is one of the best incentive for businesses to come in to grow. Now, I know this gentleman, he's one of the biggest councils in London. I'm sure he's doing all of these things already.
Absolutely.
But but I just want to say that, Mike, we've got now a Labour, although no overall control, but we've got a Labour council now in Bolton, and we want to work with them. But there is one problem, of course, that I think parties also need to look at: the issue of late payments.
Yep.
Those small businesses who have very small liquidity, very small amount of money, when people are late in paying, then of course their next part of their business stops. So we're going to ensure some way that the system helps to help that and deal with the issue of late payments. And also, of course, we need to work with, as I earlier mentioned, about having a banking structure which helps the small businesses. And that leads me on to the third question that the seminar posed, which is how does the Treasury work with banks and SMEs to provide the finance they need to grow? As I said earlier, SMEs make up the majority of UK businesses, and therefore, in order for them to thrive, to go forward, lenders should be actually getting behind the entrepreneurs and equipping them not only with resources, but actually help so they can expand not just outside their own immediate area into the country, but also internationally, and invest, of course, in training skills as well for our young people and all the people who've left jobs, or a lot of people who become unemployed in the mid-age, to invest them back, train more, create. There should be more training provided for them, especially in the new gig economy, the tech economy, the AI. Somebody like me, I'm quite technically challenged, so I wouldn't mind welcoming a lesson in some technology things as well. So I think, Labour Party is looking at this is great stuff that Johnny is working on. We need to look at the main challenges which face SMEs, which is finance as well as regulation of small business lending, and really look at how the government can work with them. We know small businesses rely on bank finance, and I think they should be able to trust the bank to understand their needs, and that the bank should be trying to work to help them at the end of the day. Because you hear about these large companies, they borrow hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds, and then they go in liquidation, and then everybody has to pay up them. So I think the banks should also be sympathetic to the smaller.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting a nod from the chair to
No,
find out.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying quiet down. No. So I just think that it's really important. Honestly, we need to grow the economy. We need to create finance, and at the end of the day, we can tax everybody to provide for all the services that we need to do for the country.
Absolutely. So, thank you.